No matter how powerful the engine is, you will find it collapsing in front of the water. Here, Armstrong decided for the first time starting a repair trip with a car that looked good from the beginning, but this car sank for meters, and this was enough to reduce the price of the most luxurious car in the world by half, and that would be a 2023 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Before that, let's start. If you like car repair content, make sure you subscribe to us here on the channel. Matt will have a trip in about a week, and he will dream of this, and he will be completely devoted to wheels. So he will go home to his favorite place, which is the destroyed Copart car yard. Even if he has the price of any model, it is impossible for him to go and buy from the dealership itself, because this is simply the content he had from a while ago. He was rebuilding the Lamborghini Urus model, so he would want something similar to the Mercedes GLE 63 and the Aston Martin DBX BS. Its appearance is completely healthy. There's no obvious scratch, but it is recorded that the engine is not running, and this is because the car was exposed to a flood and sank, because if the water entered the engine inside the combustion chambers, if a little water is small, it will burn and evaporate immediately. But if a large amount, here the pressure will be a factor. Like the diameter, there is nothing that will stop the moving parts. Like the piston shield, it will compensate, and the head itself will break. And the easiest thing are the valves in the head of the engine are destroyed, of course. However, most of the time, the block itself is cracked due to the explosion that happened. All of this is due to an attempt to press water inside the cylinder. Buy a car that is working properly in the chassis, especially if the exterior is considered less of a risk than a car that has problems in the engine itself. Here, it remains it comes to the Arab scene devoured by the luxurious English palace. The Rolls-Royce SUV Cullinan model was subjected to severe flooding and a very high level of damage. Water, but here it is recorded that the engine is running and running. This means that the engine was not running during the rain, so there is no entry for any quantity inside the engine. It is a very luxurious car. It is real, so it is worth the experience and the opportunity. The car has a white body of full carbon fiber from an English tuning company called Urban. You may have seen it parts of the bodies or kits of this company had previously appeared meanings. And here, the design of one was special. A special client contacts the sales manager at the company and tells him that the uncle bought the stroller Zero and asked for the design to be implemented and the kit installed on it immediately. The stroller walked 240 kilometers only and was getting tired due to very heavy floods. The pictures that were taken of the stroller were several meters after the calm, and the water often reached a high level above the lights. It is also something strange, to be honest. A car whose price can reach $500,000 is not parked in a garage or storage yard protected from this difficult atmosphere. Matt was the second time dealing with a Rolls-Royce car. The first was President Al-Mansouri's model. He knows that the design of the bag contains most of the electronic control units. He notices that the end of the battery wire is rusted, and the view is not good for many of the models. The weak electrical signal, the electric chairs that do not move, and the star ceiling, he will not be able to start the engine. But nothing will happen. He will keep running the engine more than once.
What happened?
Its sound is very low.
It did go.
Music, but it worked perfectly. Here, the check engine light is on in the instrument display, and there are a lot of electrical faults in the other lights. The important thing now is that the engine has started, but the seats are in a very stable position, and the door lock button is out of order. Also, the weight of this door is approximately 50 kilos. Look at the size of the door handle here, how it works in a giant car, and everything in it is supposed to be better possible quality. The strange thing is that the basic lights and signals are working. He will suspect the Bluetooth scan connection, and in this way, he detects the fault codes on the computer. He finds a large number of codes that have appeared, but he scans them and rereads the faults. And in the end, a very small number will appear, and there is nothing to worry about. Start scanning the faults that appear in the computer. The beginning doesn't mean that the problems are solved automatically, but sometimes there are readings that are registered incorrectly. And sometimes there will also be a solution to the problem from the Arabic computer without external intervention.
The plan is that the Arabic needs to prepare and treat the entire blocking areas and replace all the electronic units that malfunctioned. He tried to start it again, but this time it did not work even after repeated pressing. It is suspected that this is the same. The situation that happened to him when he was repairing the Rolls-Royce was that the car had an anti-theft system that did not allow the car to be operated unless it was registered secret movements before pressing the start button. He thinks that he knew how to turn it on the first time by coincidence. He communicates again with the sales manager of Urban and Biak. Why does the car not have any adjustments or any additions other than their white bud? He will try it again, but there is nothing but marshmallow cake. He will check it for a second longer, and he will charge the battery with an external charger. As for the first time, he will leave the car for a while and he will deny it if he wants, and it moved without any problems. He would buy it and randomly from the number of times he pressed the start button. Finally, he actually made the deal and bought the car for a price of $205,000. A very strange scene is that Matt takes the leg of the car out of the yard. It is true that he goes outside to keep the storage safe, but he also goes back to his garage and he has some problems. A lot of lighting, the interior is all working except for the ceiling of the stars, all of which will come out in the car and come down gasoline. And it does not stop the engine, because he is afraid it will not start again. But after a few minutes of waiting, he notices white smoke coming out of the end of the car. He thinks that there is some water in his exhaust pipes due to the rain and that this is just water vapor. When the exhaust temperature increases, there is no way that it will stop the engine or detect any damage. If anything happens here, he quickly goes towards his garage. The source of the smoke is from the main battery of the car, and when he removed the brushes from the bag, the smell of the devil was very strong. It was a very dangerous sight. Gases would come out of the battery in this way. The engine would definitely be turned off. It would be a plastic storage tray. I think the battery wire and the negative end would be very hot. It would come out of its place and it would take it to a very far place. You might think that it is a bit of an adult, but batteries in general, if damaged, can turn into a bomb in minutes. The type of battery here is the traditional shape, which is lead with a lion. The stage of overheating of the battery has two possible causes. The first is that something happens called a short circuit of the electricity. In short, the conduction of electricity goes in a different direction and is easier than without resistance. This makes the current be much higher and may overheat the battery. The second possibility is that the battery is overcharged without stopping. This happens when the dynamo is faulty or when an electronic unit is disconnected and allows the battery to drain. It is overcharged. The result is that, in the end, very high heat breaks down the acid components in the battery and releases hydrogen gas. Often, overcharging the battery is what happened here. He will open the bag. The important thing is that he removed all the pieces of the disassembled brushes. The car behind it contains a group of control units, all malfunctioning due to water, each one malfunctioning in a way. It is clear that there is something noticeable in the operation of the car, including the battery charging regulator, which led to an increase in the temperature of the battery, the unit that moves the doors, the motors, the electricity that disconnected the door lock button, the control unit for the ceiling lights, which led to the curtain not being lit, the roof, the cassette or amplifier signal booster due to a malfunction. There are no working speakers in the car, next to the cassette control unit and the middle screen, which led to the screen being disconnected and coming on normally. Repeatedly, the line begins with removing all the broken units from their place and trying to replace them with new sound pieces, whether from the company itself, whether used, or even trying to repair the expensive ones in the event of normal weather or even if there is heavy rain but not floods. The area of the car's cabin and the storage space is very difficult for water to reach them, but the flood of water continuously enters small amounts into the inside of the car, through the openings to relieve pressure from the inside, or also between the rear light differentials. There is a plastic box containing a group of fuses. Most importantly are safety fuses after accidents. There will be electronic parts here, so there is no need for him to order a new box. He will check the electrical connections for all the fuses. After that, he will clean it with an electronics cleaner and the rotating wire. He will completely remove all layers of the shielding. He will return the box to its place in the corner of the bag. He will also install a new unit for regulating the battery charge. He bought this model from BMW because the same part with its specifications will be available on the models of the category at 8 o'clock. Then replace the small secondary battery used for operating the electronics and of course the primary battery instead of the one that burned out. As I told you, is a traditional type battery, so its price will be around $200. And when the engine starts, a message appears in front of it to try to restart it from the second power and continues properly. But there is a problem with Achille. He will leave the car behind and he will return to it in the morning. Here, the only way to operate is to try it a lot.
There it is. That was about third time this time.
And he will finally get the car into the garage. Thinking about pushing the car was unacceptable at first because the car is already working. Otherwise, it weighs a huge 2 tons and 700 kilos.
The car entered his garage, but the hydraulic jack is normal. You can lift it because the maximum weight is 3.5 tons. The battery will check it. The new basic one recorded more than 14 volts, and the small one had almost the same battery level. Separately, its voltage will be 12.5. But if the engine is running and the dynamo is charging, the level will be between 13.5 until the end of 14 volts. He will go to the capacitor to check the connection if the voltage decreases after passing through the electrical wires. All the measurements here are excellent. These rolls are absolutely abnormal. There is a small battery in it. The third battery registered 5 volts, but 5 volts means that this battery is completely empty or dead. Its job is to activate some sensors, but the most important thing is that it is a spare battery connected to the marsh. It will raise the car from the ground. It looks like an elephant flying in the place. It is real. It will come down from under the car and run along the paths of electrical wires from under it. It will remove more than a metal cover, from under which a set of wires along the entire length of the car will be visible to the camera. The little girl is trying to see where the marsh engine is, suspecting that most of the wires are rusty, like what was seen on the back of the car, but nothing. There is nothing visible from here. He will lower the car again, and I will think about the booster from above. He will then raise the plastic engine cover. It looks complicated, but there is also nothing obvious here, because the marsh will definitely not be that close to the surface. Marsh, or the starter motor in English, it is called the self-starter motor. It has one very simple function, which is to turn a large gear known as the flywheel or the flun wheel or even the fuel gear, whatever the name is. It is a small electric motor that has a gear in contact with the flywheel. With the movement of turning the key in the contact of the car, pressing the start engine button, the electrical circuit connects a charge from the car's main battery and goes to the track. Here, in 2 movements, it is carried out in order. The gear moves longitudinally outward into the iron cavity, and once it reaches the level of the flywheel, it winds at a very high speed. The flywheel is twisted from outside the engine, and the crankshaft connected to it is twisted. And then there is a reciprocating movement above and below for all the cylinders, while providing the conditions for power generation, which are the 4 strokes of pull and pressure, the sparks and discharge of the result of combustion or exhaust. The cylinders begin to rise and fall automatically, due to the combustion processes. The recurring thing that happened is that all of this happens in a few seconds, approximately less than 5 seconds, in a whole creative world working inside and around the engine generating power. Here, the situation is still as it is. There is nothing evident with the sonar he is doing. At this time, he connects the cassette signal booster, but there is still no sound coming out of the speakers. There are a few settings that he needs to adjust. The first one also bought the unit responsible for the ceiling lights and the beautiful starry ceiling. Its lighting all work. As for the marsh, it appears on the screen of the malfunction detector, and it says that the track or wire is disconnected. So start the car again and hit its screws as wide as the car from underneath so that he can remove the armor or the large metal cover from underneath the exhaust pipes and tracks.
All the wires are clearly visible, and the connection places have rust. The most important thing is the end of the wire that connects to the sprinkler. He knows how to see it from a very narrow angle. This view definitely prevents any electricity from reaching it. While he will try to unscrew the screw that holds the sprinkler in place, but this idea is impossible to implement in this situation. He will get an oil spray, a laxative for the nails, and it will fill the entire area with this liquid. The first attempt at dismantling failed. Here, he is trying to operate with the button. But removing the rubber band that he made was not enough at all. He makes many miserable attempts to remove parts or move anything towards the path so that he can replace the bumper connection. He dismantles the pipes of the nothingness system from the middle, but from this perspective, there is nothing different. He was hoping to remove the subframe, or bridge, from its entire place with the engine installed, and it is preferable to fix it by raising it from above. He can reach the place of the marsh, but he discovers that the entire engine must be removed from its place. Rolls-Royce, followed by BMW, bought the entire company's shares in 2003. BMW has two enemies, Mercedes and the eternal competition with them, and the second enemy is the race. Really, you don't know why this simple engine is always a cause of crises in the BMW car, especially the old sports models. It is bad luck that they came in the race. I feel that the title of this video, in fact, it may have come in the garage, but in general, this part is not a consumable part at all, and its lifespan may exceed 200,000, so its location is usually difficult to reach. He will remove the front wheels. He will remove the connections in the area. He will remove the oil connections from the radiator. He will remove the coupling bolt, balance, holding the scissors and removing the layers of insulation to expose the transmission shaft for the rear wheel. He will unscrew the bolts attaching it to the gearbox from the front and also from the back with the differential. After that, from the middle, he will unscrew the carrier bolts in the chassis, and he will lower the column divided to connect the figs to the outside of the car. He will lower the car to the ground, and he will remove any connection or any hose holding in the engine, because the whole set of different coolants will remain in place. He will disconnect any connector he sees. He will take out the brake caliper and go next to the oil lines. He will separate the suspension mounting bolts with the upper scissors and lower the car as low as possible. He will raise the grade frame on the jacks and the handle of fixing the hoop shaft coming out of the car's cabin. He will start raising the car slowly and prefer to watch every corner of the engine and separate anything standing in the way of the engine's exit. This giant V12 engine remained completely free. And finally, he was able to remove the engine's drive system from the transmission and most of the front suspension outward. The car is a real hero. He knows how to dismantle anything he wants, regardless of the brand or the engine capacity. Here, 6,750 cc with all the feeding tools, the appearance is larger than the size of a large human. But here, what is definitely important is where the exhaust system is located. It will be behind one of the exhaust system cans. The thermal insulation layer will be removed. It will be buried under the engine and has a mounting place in the transmission structure from the outside. The plan is to ascertain where the problem is exactly in the electricity connections through the ends of the winding wires, and not in the engine itself. I will unscrew the two mounting bolts with the gear shift lever, and this is what I like. The engine is on the outside in its place. The end of the wire is clearly rusted. The electricity to the marsh will disappear before dismantling anything else. You may think that because the car has 12 cylinders, the size of the marshmallow itself is large, but with this size, it is almost the normal size for most cars. But the power its design is definitely higher than normal, high performance type, but its price is also very expensive.
Design the marsh made up of an electric motor and a gear. This is the big black cylinder above it. There is a solenoid or a moving valve in it, and it is responsible for direct connection to the battery and moving this gear. The direction of the exposed part will connect an electrical wire to this automatic machine and connect it to the ground of the battery. The iron frame of the marsh itself works every time it is connected to electricity, but they agreed that its movement is slower than normal. It is supposed to be impulsive and instantaneous, and more than that, because this small gear has the task of straightening the giant 12-cylinder, and while it sleeps, it will disconnect the wire from where it is fixed and the movement will be reduced. The first one will connect the marsh mover directly to the electricity. If you take care, the transmission will not move from its place to the top, but will move with very faster turns in shape this time. The problem here is with this marching automatic, and after finding out the main cause of the problem, the dynamo will be checked. On the Cullinan model, this one has two dynamos. The one located above will be too high for water to reach, so it is the lower dynamo's disassembly from my pores, which is completely drowned in water. Rainfall on the end of the wire connection has a terrible echo, and this green color is due to the oxidation of the outer layer of the sculpture metal. But the echo, the traditional color on iron metal, is brown. The problem here is that the motor is stuck in place and is never wrapped. The coils of copper wires from the inside will be damaged due to the deposits on them. The wire will be cleaned of the rust on it, and they will send it to a maintenance center to test its efficiency and return it to the best possible condition. At this time, the new repair will arrive. Its price was £715 sterling. He bought it from BMW because its official price is less than Rolls-Royce. The dynamo will be installed after cleaning it, and the marsh is new, of course, in its place on the side, and the Herbiton will return it to its place again, and the body of the car will be lowered over the engine, and from every direction the mounting bolts will go down, fixing everything. Unscrew it, the frame, suspension, and hoses will be lifted, the car will be raised on jacks, they will fix the drive shaft in place from both sides, and then it will return all the covers in place. At the hood, a German field will be installed, and then a cover over it will be placed for cooling. From the supply hole, he repeatedly buys a small, healthy, but used battery. Here, it will be a replacement for the one that had a weak voltage. The battery is also from BMW, and I will try to start it with enthusiasm the next time. But the first time, nothing happens.
Yes, it was!
Rolls-Royce, its engines are silent and very quiet in the first place. The next step will be the screen that gets stuck and is not regular, and the electric chairs that are working. The electronic control unit is located under the chairs, so connect to it. Sure, the chair is fixed like any other chair on 2 lines of travel. The front screws are clearly in place, but the back of the chairs is completely locked on it. He is trying to remove the armature of the chairs without removing all the chairs outside. He will extend his hand and try to separate the plug from the inside. Then he will try to remove the 2 screws from the front. And I will think about it, the back secures the chair to its metal base.
He tilts the chair forward and attaches it to a piece of wood. He bought a used control unit from a company. BMW does a shop for almost all the new parts under the name BMW. The area is narrow, and all of it is wired. Here, the original model will appear in the car. It will discover that the electric motor that moves the chairs behind the front is not there at all, and it will begin to come back from behind the chair. It will find a connection that is not connected to any socket. So here, it will need 2 motors. Their price is £900 sterling. So instead of buying a new one, he makes a strong, strange move and buys 2 complete chairs from BMW. The 7 of them include the electric motor and the parts for its drive system. The price for the 2 chairs will be £800 sterling. The back sofa has problems related to the electricity as well, so the whole big seat stays out of place. There are many leaks on one of the control units. I bought 2 new units from Rolls-Royce, this is because of the speed of delivery. He installs the piece in its place and locks the area behind it, and it works normally. It is fine here, but all the car screens show distortion. He sells a hand to adjust special settings for the front screen. He will go to dismantle the chairs he brought. He will take out the electric motor in his track and install them in the empty space. The switch will actually succeed, and the whole chair will move. He will take the chairs outside the car. He will attach the iron sticks to the width and the metal track. It is fixed with screws and 2 bolts on the side. He decides to remove the screen from the frame with everything from its place. The radio control unit comes out. This is the main unit that controls everything in the entertainment system. The idea is that its location was too high for water to reach, so it is probably not the main drawback of the screen's malfunctioning. This electronic box costs £1,600 sterling, so I waited a whole day before ordering this part, and in a moment it will actually be there. Very nice, and the screen works. The second problem is that the screen has a protective cover, or external decoration. When it turns off automatic, the screen turns off with him. But here, the screen is on all the time, even with the cover locked. From the settings, the screen lock was activated. With the cursor moved from the console, the screen will come back on again, but for a short time, and it will turn off again. The idea is that it is alone. The control thought that the lid was closed all the time. The lid opens automatically from inside the interior itself, but with a malfunction of the car and the disconnection of electricity from it at the time of the flood, someone in the auction yard opened the lid manually for a very simple reason, but it was a ridiculous lock. But the speakers still do not produce any sound, even when he replaced a new amplifier in Beirut for the bag. He checked the fuse box and found that there was actually a burnt fuse for the signal booster. He replaces this fuse with a healthy one, and the gearbox is working.
Finally, he assembles the entire interior after solving all his problems. The last piece he buys will be for controlling the movement of the electric doors, but the right door is still not working. He will dismantle all the parts of the interior upholstery.
He will remove the sound insulation cover from underneath it. He will pull the motor with the pull shaft. The machine will be built. It is similar to a machine that opens and closes the buzzer. It will open and see the engine inside. It will still have traces of water accumulated on the engine. Why is the belt pulley that makes the pulling motion? He disassembles a part and pulls out a very small electric motor similar to the one in toys. He puts lubricating fluid on it and taps on it from every angle. Then he checks the electrical connection and it works properly. He will install the entire motor assembly and return to the place inside the door from underneath and so on. The task is completed successfully. The beautiful Alcantara upholstery will return to the bag and the bag is closed completely without any problems. The problem is that he buys original pedals from Rolls-Royce. They look comfortable and look very luxurious. The price of this set of 4 pieces will be £1,500 sterling, so it is the most expensive thing in this rebuilding. It is even more expensive than the new March. The one riding in a car has a majestic appearance. He finally moves the car out to the garage, but it is already night and night. Outside, but parked next to the Rolls, President Mansouri, who used to build it, a terrible rebuilding that we talked about. You should go back and watch his video. It will be a roller coaster ride with os and hit in French, Arabic, but the rest of the trip will be cancelled due to the bad weather at the time. The view of the huge car in black with a white background feels like a graphic scene from a game, but just like that, the Cullinan is back in control of the road. My Nani, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and write to us about the upcoming model.